We are live in Sioux County this afternoon, both Mrs. Wagner and myself. We are going to give just a couple minutes here and see if some of our schools hop in. I will just kind of show you where we're at, and then, like I said, in a minute or two, we will start the conversation. All right, it looks like we've got a couple people joining. We'll give it another minute here. Awesome. We have already 5 classrooms on with us, so we are going to go ahead and start. I want to introduce you. This is Aaron Maassen. We are at the Maassen Dairy just outside Orange City, and I'll give him just a chance to tell you about their operation and kind of what you're seeing behind you.
Yeah, my name is Aaron Maassen, and I'm a 5th generation dairy farmer. In this operation, I'm in with my father and 2 brothers. Besides us on the farm, we also have 25 people that work with us as employees. So it's an awesome group of people that get to do every day. We primarily, our main thing is the dairy. We have 1,700 dairy cows, and we milk about 1,500 of those. The other 200 of those cows are resting because they're at the end of their pregnancy before they have a calf. So we milk all those milking cows 3 times a day. Behind me is the milking parlor. We milk 60 cows at a time. Here. The cows walk in here.
I'm going to have you just move your mic. You might have to hold it. Sorry.
The cows walk in here on their own. They enjoy coming to the milking parlor. So when the cows come in here, they're calm, they're comfortable. When they come in, people clean the udders off, prep them for milking. After they are wiped with a clean, dry towel, then the milking machine is attached, and the milk is harvested from the cow.
Very good.
Each cow gives about 90 pounds per day. Just an idea, that's about 8 gallons of milk.
Very good, yeah.
When you're picking up a gallon in your refrigerator, that 8 of those for 1 cow.
Every single day. Yeah, very
That's
cool.
a lot.
Very good. Cheryl, I saw that you commented you're having trouble hearing. Can you hear any better now? Sure. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully you can hear us. If we want to do just kind of an overview of the parlor, and then they might be able to hear better in the barn, so we can give kind of an overview and then move over.
Sure.
So you said they're in 3 times a day.
Yep.
How long does it take to milk each cow?
So the cow comes in here, it's about 5 to 8 minutes is the length of time that they're in here. So
Okay.
not very long. The cows, as soon as they get to leave here, they get to go back to their pens and get fresh water to drink, get food to eat, and then rest. Cows do the best at producing milk when they're able to eat the amount of feed that they need, and then rest.
Yeah, and we talked about that this month. We talked about how our dairy cattle don't always gain as much muscle because it takes so much energy for production.
Yep.
So students are familiar with that. We'll just kind of just do a glance here of the parlor, and then we're going to head over to where some of the other cattle are. How many fit in your parlor at once?
So there's 60 cows fitting here at one time. It takes about 7 hours to milk all 1,500 cows.
Wow.
in this world.
Wow. Very good.
After that, they clean up everything. Everything gets every 8 hours they wash all the equipment, floors, walls.
Very good. So, in a typical day, what time does milking start for you?
Myself, I don't do any milking,
Right.
but I do a lot of work in the barns with the herd, just taking care of the mothers, taking care of the babies. For me, starts out when we get to the dairy, is basic. Talk with the employees that were here during the night, see which calves were born, make sure the mothers are doing okay and that they're healthy. Make sure the calves are taken care of well, that they're clean and dry. When we process those newborn calves, steps that we have to take to make sure that they're healthy. We give them identification so they know who they are and
Very
where
good.
they're from. After those calves are born each day, we take them outside to their own individual pens within the first 12 hours. And then the mother of that calf goes into the milking room and she'll get special attention, especially the first few days after she has the calf.
Make sure she's healthy. Very good. So, what time of day is the first batch brought into your parlor?
So, since we milk 3 times a day, and it takes 7 hours to milk all the cows, we pretty much milk around the
Constantly.
clock.
Sure.
So,
Very good. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move to the other barn if that works for you. And we're just going to have a short walk here, guys. If anyone has any questions, this would be a great time to type them in.
radio frequency tag, we call it.
Okay.
That way, as they grow and become an adult, we'll be able to track them in the herd. For example, when they walk into the parlor to get milked as an adult cow, then the computer will be able to read which cow came in and when, and how much milk she gives.
Okay.
And we can use all that information to take better care of the cows and find out who's doing really well, who maybe is getting sick that day. We can find them in the barn and make sure, see if they need to have special attention. Maybe they have a sore foot, maybe a ache or some type of illness. So we can use those to roam in these barns. We'll try to walk up real slow so they don't get scared. You can see, come a little closer, you can see that they're laying on sand. We let all our cows lay on sand because it is very comfortable for them. Just like when we are on the beach, you know, you can jump in it and lay in it and it's soft.
Very good.
So they're most comfortable when they're able to lay on the sand.
And we talked in some of our classes that if we walked up to a pen of beef cattle, they'd probably be more likely to scurry back pretty quickly. But your dairy cattle are pretty used to people being
They
milked.
are, yeah. Yep, because 3 times a day, a person's coming in here and calling these cows and getting them up to go to the milking parlor. So they're used to them being in there. And also, when we check on our cows every day, we're walking through the pens and looking at them to see, to make sure they're healthy.
Definitely. We've talked about that too. What kinds of things do you look for that would tell you that one of your cows is sick?
The first thing that we look for is, are they getting up and are they eating? They won't eat as much if they're starting to get sick. They might start to get a little droopy ears or watery eyes, or a lot of the same symptoms we get as people.
Yeah.
Could you see the tags?
Yes, I was
Yes,
looking at.
we can see those
one
tags.
One side is your tag, and the other side, that little button, is the other one you're talking
the
about.
radio frequency tag is
Yep.
the little button.
Okay.
Now, 4th grade in Boyden just asked us, how long does it take to feed the cows?
So we feed the cows with a big truck, and this truck holds about 25,000 pounds of feed, and we make about 10 loads of feed with that truck every single day. So that takes about 5 hours to feed all the cows with that truck.
And are they, oh, go ahead.
And we can walk around and look at that feed too. It's they get a very special ration. It's a lot of different ingredients that make up the feed that the cows eat.
Yeah, can you tell us about your ration?
Yeah, let's go over to it.
Because a ration is like a recipe.
Exactly, that's the recipe they're going to use. Right, we didn't use that word much this month, but good.
So this is the feed line where the cows can come whenever they want and eat however much they want. And you see some of these we're just eating. They're kind of licking their mouth clean, and you can see some of the feed on their nose. If you look closely at the feed that they eat, a lot of it is corn. We chop corn for corn silage, basically taking the whole plant and chewing it up. We also add to it alfalfa hay, and then there's other ingredients like your vitamins and minerals and soybean meal. But the main ingredients is hay and corn silage.
Very good. And they're familiar with both of those things.
Yep.
Yeah. Second grade in Remsen would like to know how much a calf weighs when it's born.
Calves, Holstein calves, which is primarily the breed that we have. Most of those are between 80 and 100 pounds when they're born.
Very good.
Another neat fact that surprises many people is how much a dairy cow will eat each day.
Yeah, how many pounds of feed do they eat?
Ours are between 90 and 100 pounds of feed per day that they eat.
Wow.
Wow.
So in this building, you have fans to keep them cool in the summer, but what about the curtains on the side? Can you explain a little bit about?
Yeah, like the side curtains, we can adjust those curtains depending on the weather outside. If it's windy and cold, we'll close them. Today it's about 30, 35 degrees outside, so we have them opened up a little bit. This is the perfect temperature for a cow. If it's 40 degrees, they are happy.
Very good.
Yep.
They're laying in their sand and they're happy.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We talked a little bit about the ruminant system and how much heat that digestion can give off, and then with their hide on top of that, we talked about how Iowa cows aren't necessarily too cold most of the year. They're doing okay.
Right.
Yeah.
When it's very cold in the winter time, say 0 degrees outside, we'll have the barn all closed up, all the doors will be closed. We still have the roof peak is open just so that they get some fresh air. But it'll be about 20 to 30 degrees warmer in the barn than outside. And the only reason for that is because the cows give off a lot of heat, like you said.
Right. They would also like to know the normal life expectancy of a dairy cow.
Yeah, so a dairy cow is between 8 and 10 years usually is the life expectancy. They can't have their first baby until they're about 2 years old, and that's when they start being milked. So it takes 2 years to grow them.
Right. Very good.
The other thing maybe that they would want to know about is
Sure.
there's sprinklers in here in the summertime.
Yeah.
A cow actually gets stressed from heat when it gets above 75 degrees. So the sprinklers start coming on then. The fans actually come on at 60 degrees. So we would think 60 is kind of cool,
Right.
maybe. Not cows. That's when they start to use.
Okay. They're so calm in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Another thing about cows, they drink a lot of water. Of course, a big part of milk is water, of course. So this time of the year, they drink about 50 gallons of water per day. In the summertime, when it gets hot, they can drink as much as 100 gallons in one day.
Wow.
Per cow.
Wow.
Yep.
Very good. Now, where do you sell your milk?
Yep.
What are some of your products used for?
We sell to AMPI, which you can find some of their products in grocery stores around here. They make it into butter and cheese.
Okay.
So you can get all different kinds of cheeses. If you go to different grocery stores or restaurants, or there's cheese from this herd that gets made and distributed to all those places.
Very cool. Very good. And what does that process look like once it's in your bulk tank, once they're milked in the parlor? What kind of process does that go through, or does that happen off-site for you?
Yep. So after the cow gives the milk, we pump the milk through a pipeline. It goes through some filters here, and then it gets pumped it gets cooled first, and gets pumped directly onto a semi-truck. Whenever that semi-truck gets filled up, which is, we fill a little over 2 semi-trucks each day, then that load is taken right away to the processing plant, and and they'll start the process of filtration, pasteurization. Well, depending on what they're going to use the milk for,
Sure.
they'll start making it into all the dairy products.
Very cool.
So just I always like to tell this because it's a cool fact, I think.
Yeah.
We all like to eat pizza, right? And the best ingredient on a pizza is the cheese.
Definitely.
The milk that we send off of this farm each day is enough to make 12,000 pizzas.
Wow.
Gosh, that's a cool thing.
That is
Yep.
cool.
It takes a lot of pounds of milk to make cheese.
To make cheese.
Yep. So yeah, and everybody loves cheese, so that's
Definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone has more questions, you can hop in. So 4th grade, we did answer, we know that they are similar to people. They asked how we know they're sick. They maybe missed our little blurb there. Kind of looking for droopy ears. Are they eating? Are they up and around enough? But they also want to know how you might treat them if they're sick. What would that look like?
Yeah, so it depends what their illness is. We do have some antibiotics that are available for us to use on the cows. We have to follow labels very closely because we don't want to have any antibiotics get into the milk. So the milk may have to be used for the calves during that time period when they're treated with an antibiotic so that the milk doesn't get shipped for human consumption. It's rare that we have to use an antibiotic on a dairy cow. Usually we try to do other things first. For example, if we take them to a different pen, maybe give them a bolus, which is non-antibiotic, or aspirins. Sometimes we can just monitor them closely and watch their temperature to see if they get through the illness on their own. So we have different things that we can do.
Sure. Very good. Erica, do you have other things you can think of from this month? We see some of them up ahead. Are they headed to the parlor or just coming back, you
So
think?
those are probably just coming back from
Okay.
the parlor. Yep.
Okay.
They're walking back to their pen. If they're not being chased, sometimes they'll just loiter around.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Very good.
One of the things that is a little unique to a dairy cow, because of all the food that they are eating, we watch to see if they are chewing their cud.
Yeah.
That's a sign that we know that a dairy cow is healthy.
Good.
So I don't know if everybody knows what that
Well,
They
we
do.
talked a
They
lot
do.
about chewing their cud and how that digestive tract
System works.
Yep.
Yes. So you can talk about that though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when they eat all that feed, they might go back to their sand stall and lay down, and then they will really start chewing their cud. That feed will be coming back
Sure.
up, and they'll be chewing it and then re-swallowing, swallowing it.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I don't know if I learned this later in the month, but I shared with some of my classes that cattle spend about 40% of their day just chewing cud and digesting. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
quite a bit of time. Now, all of your cattle are Holsteins. That's why they're black and white. That's their breed. What goes into that decision of what breed you're going to raise?
Well, my great-great-grandfather actually used to have another breed
Okay.
along with the Holsteins. They had brown Swiss. So, of course, the
Yep.
brown-looking cows.
Yep.
And they had Holsteins.
Okay.
As my father grew the herd, they gradually started to move towards more Holsteins because they felt they produced a little bit more milk. That's some of the characteristics of the breed, just a little bit larger, maybe better
Sure.
feet and legs.
Very good.
Now with hogs, we talked about last unit, they had slats in the floor for their manure to go through. What do you do for your manure management with dairy cattle?
Yeah, so every time these cows get taken out of the pen and moved to the milking parlor, somebody will come in here with a skid loader. It's a machine, and they have a recycled squeegee tire, we call it.
Okay.
They take the tires off large mining trucks and they cut them in half and make them into a big squeegee out of rubber. So they'll use that to clean the floor. It it gets pushed to the end of the group and dropped into a large tube which has water running through it.
Okay.
And that flushes all of that waste out of the barns. And of course with that is some of the sand that the cows had kicked out of the stalls
Sure.
when they got up. And that's taken to the manure system. And we actually have a way that we can separate out the sand and dry that sand over time and reuse the sand. So we can recycle it.
Okay.
Very good.
I do have one more question. So I'm a sheep producer, and so we dock tails when they're lambs. I'm seeing these cows have docked tails. Why do they have the docked tail?
So we've docked some of the tails for cleanliness.
Yep. Same with sheep.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's for the people and for the cow. The
Yep.
cow stays a little cleaner when
Yes.
the tail's not on the floor and
Yep.
then they swing it around
Yeah.
and throw the manure up onto their body.
Sure.
If the tails are docked, it helps with that. And for the people that, when they're prepping the cow to be milked,
Makes it
it's
easier.
just a little cleaner.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure. Now, I'm not getting a lot of questions. We still have some classrooms watching, so we might wrap up here in a minute. But I am curious, knowing that some of your calves are raised as beef cattle. We didn't really talk about this with kiddos,
We
but
kept
you're
it separate.
we did
just to
we
make it
did.
easier.
But when you have a bull calf born, you said you raise them as beef.
Yeah.
Are there major differences in how you raise the two different types for product?
When they're young, it's the same. So when they're getting milk, all the males and females get fed milk together. When they get to about 12 weeks old, that's when we separate them into boys and girls into different pens, and then the boys start to get fed a richer diet with corn, and it helps them to grow a little differently than what the females do, since they're used to
Yep,
meat and not
yep.
to milk.
Gain more muscle. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Very good. Well, if you have anything else you want to add, or anything you feel like we should cover, we can do that. But we'll kind of wrap it up here and let everybody get back to their school day.
Yeah, I guess I'm just glad I could show you a little bit about what happens on a dairy farm.
Yeah.
What the life is like for a dairy cow each
Yeah.
day. How we take pride as dairy farmer in taking care of our cows and helping them to be as comfortable as they can so that they can produce as much milk as they're able to.
Definitely.
If we take really good care of them, they are the most productive. So we take pride in that, and we love that we get to harvest milk as a product and provide it to people as an awesome thing through
Definitely.
milk and cheese and ice cream. And it's
Very good.
a neat way to be involved in the agriculture industry.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. We will see you in March.